The all-consuming Red Death. 600 years ago, King Arthur led the Great Escape from the homelands, where our kingdoms were ravaged by the plague. Leading people to Avalon, he started the Age of Conquest and took the island from the fore-dwellers. Using the mysterious powers of Menhirs, together with Merlin, they cleansed the land of the Wyrdness, a primordial force of chaos and possibility. But now, long after the death of the king, Camelot is in shambles as Avalon fractures into chaos. Old legends are gone, and the Wyrdness is creeping back into our lands. The bleeding heart of the plague has started beating once more, and the Red Death has returned. Rulers of the Island Asylum, an order of the Red Priests, are desperate to stop it by any means necessary. Rotting in one of their cells is a stranger who might bring a spark of change to this cursed island stuck in everlasting autumn.
Well, I suppose that's one way to start it. This is not going to be my first playthrough. I haven't actually finished the game yet, but I ran into an issue that kind of made me want to reset the entire thing, and somewhere through that I was like, what if I just record the playthrough instead? That's what we have, though. That's what we have. Not sure what I'm going to do over again, but no, yeah, sure, that's not good. Yeah, honestly, once I do this, here we go, and I have to see what it takes. I think this will be a very casual playthrough, but at the same time, I'm trying to do as much as I can in the process of doing it. That's yes, right, yeah, it's more of these streaming guys. But, alright, I was considering going with survival mode, but I figure it's not. While it would be interesting, I have a pretty big issue with gravity that tends to take me out more than anything else. So I'm not terribly worried about actually dying to any enemy, but I know I will die to gravity. As a result, I really do not think I should be going with that right now. Maybe in a future challenge run, perhaps, but we'll see.
Rise and shine, rise and shine. Yes, it's me again. And I hope this time you'll cooperate, without me needing to repeatedly hit you in the face, eh?
Hell of a rude awakening, as always, but well, let's see what goes.
Look, we just have to get this over and done with. Unless you want a visit from someone upstairs. And, trust me, you don't. Just like before, no food until we're done here. And the moment you start getting on my nerves, we're going back to my tried and tested fists. So, tell me, what were you doing in the forest when the Red Shields caught you?
A part of me wants to go with a fist playthrough, but I've already kind of done that. And I kind of want to go with mostly magic and then maybe switch to melee later. So I could do that. I'd get the most out of picking the first option because it has the most bonuses early on, at least. But there is something here that is slightly more valuable early on, at least, which is actually cooking.
Yeah, you look like one of those half-starved druids who survived the Charred Conclave.
Rude.
We've picked almost all of you up from the forest by now, so there aren't many of you crooks left out there. So, you're a tree hugger then?
Not exactly, but I could go with the Burning Ember here, but I actually get one for free for just, well, existing, essentially. It's easily picked up, and almost every enemy in the game has Burning Ember. So I want to get Blood Transfusion, not because it actually heals, but because it has bleed stacks to an absolutely ridiculous degree. So It also gives me cooking, of course, and alchemy, which is quite nice this early on. Yeah, let's do that.
So that's why I keep punching you, yet you look suspiciously healthy. We'll make more of a challenge for you soon enough. Okay, that was easier than I expected. Now, unfortunately, we'll have to stop.
Oh, that never gets old. That is beautiful. Thank you, Caradoc.
I've always found it puzzling that these people won't bathe. You, I understand. You're literally rotting in this damned cell. But them? There's just no excuse for the stench. There they are. Finally. I know. You've a million questions. But they'll have to wait. One of these keys will open your cell. When you get out, head left. I'll scout ahead.
Alright then. Yeah, as I said before, this is not my first playthrough. Or my second. Or third, to be honest. It's a lot more than that. Oh, I need the boots too. Don't need this, however. It's terrible. Nah, I'm okay with that. Let's stick to light armor. For the foreseeable future, at least. I don't plan on getting hit, but there isn't much of a reason for me to upgrade anything but light armor anyway, since the weight reduction is an option anyway, so. Beautiful Liliana in the Chamber of Ecstasy. As much as I'd like to read this out loud right now, I don't think it's necessary. If you're watching it, this is either your first time or you've already done this, and in that case, I think you can pause the video and just read it yourself. The Menhir figurine. Alright. Cooking for the resistant. Fish soup. I do feel like I should just make some food right now. I am going to get hit. I'm pretty certain I'm going to get hit at least once or twice. +1, not too shabby. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. I could choose the system and just get level 100 sneaking here, but let's not. Kashirai. Age unknown. Female. King's Road. Red Death Stage 2. Severe skin lesions notably visible on the face and hands. Further screening tests are required. Strict protective measures must be enforced. Stage 2, they say, but this is what she looks like? like a living corpse, honestly. Ethan, 16, male, Quinact. Red Death Stage 4. Ethan. Might have to remember the name there. There are a couple families in Connacht I remember running into. Ethan. Though the body remains in relatively good condition, despite the 4th stage of the plague, the patient's mind is a shambles. It seems that the mind is the first to die. We'll need to observe what happens next. 16 years old. Treatment records. The patient is mentally stable, though physical symptoms of the Red Death persist. I've started applying small doses of the black henbane to his skin, and asked him to keep a dream journal. Progress is strong, but he panics easily. I'll introduce a mild calming agent to help him relax and open his mind without fear. The patient's mental state is worse than expected. Upon waking, he either becomes briefly catatonic or curls up, muttering. The patient is now fully catatonic, unresponsive, unmoving, not eating. Death seems the only mercy left. I'll conduct an autopsy to seek possible brain changes. There must be something to learn here. Ramblings of a weary mind. I'm gonna avoid reading this one because it's the effects of a maddened, broken mind. There's Ethan, dead as can be. Mr. Priest. Already got that. Ninian, 28 male, Horns of the South Keeper. Ninian? Red Death Stage 4. Inflammation in various organs. Maintain strict isolation protocols to prevent the spread of infection. Notify Captain Brianda if this procedure fails and subject dies. Wait. Ninian, isn't he the keeper that's in the prison back there? I'm pretty sure he is. Patient is being transferred from his room to the laboratory for further examination. Please ensure the area remains undisturbed during the relocation process. Eh? Note written in blood. To anyone who finds this note, you need to run before they start your treatment. And it makes you realize you need to know your own legs off. I promise that you are not sick. And even if you are, they will not cure you. Save yourself as I did. I stole a small glass jar when they weren't looking, broke it into tiny shards and swallowed them all. Soon, I will be free. Now, I assumed initially, when the first couple of times that I came through here, even the fourth and fifth time I came through this area, that this guy, Ninian, killed himself in here, given the heart and the jar here. But I know for a fact that Ninian, the keeper, is in the room back there. So, did someone else kill themselves while they were in here beforehand? I guess that's got to be the case, but scheduled to be filled and blah blah blah. Hello, Mr. Right, actually, the leather armor is rather heavy, isn't it? It is. Swift looting. A letter from Katrin. I'm gonna have to try to not give this letter to the Red Priest this time around. I want to give it to Zephyr once I get to Knocked. Should be. Oh. Come on. Oh.
Near.
Easy, that big guy. Let's see, daggers, and put them in the offhand for now. I am going to be a little bit of a loot goblin. I'm going to pick up anything that I know has decent enough value without being too heavy. As well as any alchemical ingredients, ideally. And whatever else I remember to pick up, because it's not always that my mind actually recalls certain aspects of these things. Helge, 73 male burrow. Red Death Stage 1. The fevers brought on by the Red Death have left a lasting mark on the patient's mind. He's plagued by numerous visions. Mood changes occur from emotional indifference to religious and ecstatic rapture, leading to foretelling doom. Observe.
Drip, drip, drip. Do you hear it? Soon the king will return. I told the priests. They laughed, but they'll soon see for themselves. Drip, drip, drip. The storm is gathering.
Indeed. Lisa, 20, female, Little Grove, Red Death stage 3. Plague progression has stopped. After prolonged exposure to concentrated Wyrdness, the patient's body has undergone severe alterations. The mutations, however, may have halted the progression of the disease. Hold for observation. After 4 weeks, proceed with disposal. Indeed, because she isn't cured. She was simply... How do I put this? She was, progression simply stopped, but she wasn't cured. She still got the Red Death. She will still die, but for now they're simply observing whether or not the changes from the Wyrdness will do anything significant enough. And it shows, I mean, it's pretty evident she can't exactly leave this bed. She just doesn't realize it, and naturally they've fed her the lies that she's cured and that she can leave.
Do you see what a miracle I am? Healed. Healed. I am no longer sick. The depths filled with the weirdness. Oh, and a chamber. It was rather dreadful, I must admit. They left me here for... I thought I was dying, but... all is well. The worst is behind me. You don't need to help me. The Red Priests already did. They cured me. Thanks to them, I feel just fine now. I hope the same fate awaits you and you'll no longer suffer. Have a nice day, kind lady.
Yeah, this is, it's quite dark once you understand exactly what all this means and what she tells you. She really doesn't know any better. What a blasted shame. But, well, I suppose she was already dying to begin with. There's not much hope for her anyway. 3, 2, 1. Down she goes. In this case, he goes, I guess. Brother Ambrosia's body is being prepared for his funeral, which will take place in 1 week. Please await the arrival of the Red Shields to handle any remaining dangers. Do not enter, do not touch. I'm going to enter. The sneaking, the looting, the use for those. Everything here's fine, but mine's there. I don't remember that. Still like not other reports. Oh, well, I'm assisting you to read over again. About these. I do it, you know. Seems like silly things. But there's a lot of good dialogue behind it, because time. Bleed really is a very solid use. There is there's a whole bleed stack that you go with at some point. I really have to. I really have to tap myself in the of wanting to read all this. Yes, a brain on a shelf. I think that's a little suspect. These supposed researchers of the Red Death here to just leave these brains out in the open. How dare you? A room of Wyrdness remedies. Handle the afflicted with great care, for their suffering may one day become your own. Record every detail, the smallest note may determine life or death. Indeed. There we go. Brains. I'm not entirely sure what the brains are actually used for yet. These are clearly human brains. There are monster brains that can be used for armor. Which... Can we... can we talk about that for a second? Using brains for armor seems a little... a bit unusual, if I may. Species Wordbore. Remember, after handling infected animals, all the equipment should be soaked in alchemical cleaning solutions. Infected wordbores that reach the late stage should be euthanized to prevent further spread. Safety protocol violated. Entry is strictly forbidden. Oh, well. So these are the wordbores, which is absolutely enormous. It looks like a bear's skull almost. It's a little elongated, of course, but the size of it, at least. This thing is enormous by comparison to a usual one. Our pals in there. Katrin's, I was about to say cell, but I don't think this was her cell. More, well, more like the place she died than her cell. Katrin Guiscard and her four-armed child. Dear God, have mercy, dude. They really killed her. The Red Priests killed her. This will claim that her death is because of the procedure. Which I suppose is technically true if you consider the procedure, the whole thing of exposing her to the Wyrdness. This is an incredibly vile thing to do. And not to mention, this was about 30 years ago. I'm more impressed by the fact that this was almost 30 years ago now. If we take the age of her husband into consideration. And they've just left her here. Though I'm intrigued by the fact that the blood is still, well, red. It shouldn't be. If I understand how blood works. Which, honestly, I might not. Anyway. Let us get the pickaxe. Health potion and mana potion.
Sage and alcohol. It's the simplest recipe. I can't believe I have to keep repeating myself.
You know how the young ones are. They dream of dissecting fore-dwellers, yet they can't remember the basics.
Before you build a castle, you must first know how to fling a shed together.
I agree. The fundamentals are essential. But the world is moving forward, and the young are eager to make their mark as quickly as possible.
Any novice who can't remember the recipe for a basic healing potion has no business near our patients.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be wise or beneficial to our patients. Brewing a simple healing potion doesn't require advanced training.
Patience. Well, that's what they call us, but we're anything but patience. Where is he? Ah, there he is. Hey, buddy. Let's play. And he's dead. Stay alert. Whatever do you mean? Alright, let's see what we got here. Hello, Ninian. Yeah, this is Ninian, right? Mr. Keeper from the Halls of the South. I assumed that the guy in his cell was him, but obviously there must have been a previous prisoner.
You're not one of them. Please, free me.
This is not what he wants, and this is also not what he wants technically. But let's start with the other one.
That's not the kind of freedom I'm asking for. There's no saving me now. Even if I could escape, I'd only be putting others at risk. You have to kill me. And when it's done, please, take my tags to the Horns of the South. Let Fergus know I didn't run.
I can do that.
He's the quartermaster of the Horns of the South. It's a keep. If you make it out, you should be able to see its lighthouses from the beach.
Alright. I understand your pain. Close your eyes.
Thank you. May the All-Mother bless you.
Oh, she will. Believe you me, my friend. I'm not gonna take the pants. Might as well give him a little dignity in death. Anyway, let us put the spell on. Second one. The history of the Island Asylum. And then the prophet instructed her disciples, go to the marshes where those marked by the plague await death. Aid them, build an asylum, and keep peace for their bodies and souls. As long as my teachings live in your hearts, so shall I. Upon her last breath, the acolytes buried her on the Isle of the Dead, then went to the dark morass to build the lazaret as she commanded. One day, King Arthur heard a voice from the prophet's tomb. Opening the coffin, he found not bones, but a beautiful woman seemingly taken by death in peaceful slumber. Then her words resounded. Arthur, the plague is a trial for all. My disciples brave the marshes, preaching humbly, yet ask nothing in return. I ask for a place worthy of their sacrifice. Arthur granted her request, directing Morgaine to vacate the fore-dweller ruins of the Isle of the Dead for the Red Priests to continue their service. You know, I never actually noticed that particular line before. Morgaine? Isn't that the witch? I'm not mistaken. Perfectly honest, this is actually a really good opportunity for me to refresh my knowledge of the story here. Yeah, no, this is just a madman. I'm not reading that. Not again, at least. I've already done that in the past. Blood clots, quite nasty, all things considered. Let's get rid of the jars. Don't need that. A little too heavy. Copper arrows. It's always useful. Book. Moran's book is actually quite good. It delves on some interesting topics. Most of all that they should be doing their best to ensure that their patients aren't suffering in the process. That's 1, 2. Let's just very quickly get the loot. Nothing else in here? Nope. Okay. A couple of apples. The second pope. Sneak.
I'm prepared for this. The word protects me.
I swear these hitboxes are...
We'll send you into the abyss.
They're almost too good sometimes.
You will burn.
Oh, ow, pain.
We'll send you into the abyss.
Sir, what was that? Stop it. Let me just take a look at the weights. Drop that. Drop that. Drop that. That'll do. Alright. Syrius? No, that's not his name. His name is, what was it? Syrius? Syrius, I think. Brother Syrius, self-experimentation. Treat like a regular patient.
Who's there? Forgive me, but my eyes fail me these days. You shouldn't be here. I'm very, very sick.
I can see that, but, well, I kind of need to talk to every NPC, you know? It helps.
I am Brother Syrius. Your question suggests that you are not one of the Red Priests.
Correct.
Did you escape yourself?
I did.
You really should have stayed there.
No thank you.
We can't let the plague spread any further. Although, I understand.
What exactly do you... I know what he understands. This, again, on the voice acting, this guy is just so good. He's very convincing. He really is.
All of it. The patience. The madness around. Somewhere along the way, we lost ourselves.
That you did.
The mission to find a cure became a burden. I can't tell who you are, but I'm so sorry for all that we've done. It's a shame, but when you're fighting a losing battle, sometimes there's just no other way.
That is... how do I put this? This is a dilemma that comes up a lot in this particular story, in this game. That sometimes, when you're on the brink, standing on the edge, you don't really have the luxury of other choices. And it is incredibly vile, despite being a necessity sometimes. And it's incredibly frustrating because you can't really argue against it without just submitting to the grace of death, perhaps. But I do enjoy the conversations on the subject, despite the twisted nature of the experiments. For example, Katrin was infected by the Red Death and would have likely died, irregardless of any interference from the Red Priests, but she didn't have to die in the way that she did in their attempt to fix the Red Death, right? But in any case...
When I discovered that I'd fallen ill, I asked to be placed in a cell. I sought to understand the experiments from the patient's perspective.
That's commendable.
To learn which stimuli provoke the strongest reactions. And I also wanted to equip my brothers with new tools for their work.
Commendable, again.
We've had some success, treating it up to the 4th stage. But it's still a gamble. Sometimes we manage to push the disease from stage 3 back to stage 1, only to see it jump to stage 5 as soon as treatment stops. We believe that with the weirdness, we could eliminate this randomness.
Right.
4th stage, if I'm not mistaken. We've identified 6, so I'm not far from my end. The 1st stage is the most treacherous, when the symptoms are almost invisible.
Oh? Wait, I'm sorry, did the target just cut out? Am I going crazy? Okay, that is, that's worrying.
Fever, tooth loss, painful sores, festering wounds that won't heal. The last two stages are visceral, the worst possible. The victim's insides burn up, turning to mush. The brain starts to die, and the body becomes a mindless shell. That's what's ahead of me.
And there is, that's the sad part of the Red Death too. The lucky ones, I believe, die relatively early on, before the Red Death jumps to the Tears of Doom, but the ones not so lucky end up living to the point of stage 5. And it's obviously a brutal affair.
The weirdness, my child, is pure potential.
That it is.
That's the theory. In practice, we tried to direct its power where we needed it most. The effects, shall we say, varied.
Indeed. I like this conversation with Brother Syrius because he is, Brother Syrius. He does have some interesting points on the discussion, for sure.
May the Prophet's word be a safe haven for you.
Holy Rage, really?
Your fate is sealed. You'll suffer for your sins.
What sins exactly? Me attacking you because you're attacking me?
You'll suffer for your
You
sins.
hypocritical pricks! Stop that! Ow. Kindly don't. Alright. As always, that leads into a, an experience. No, actually maybe. Oh. No, not that. No, too heavy. Not worth it. Do any of these look good? No, they're all awful. Except for the trousers. The ragged peasant's trousers. It's not too shabby. And another potions. Potion. Food. I'll have to make a little more of that since I just used one up. Nothing here. What a surprise. More hearts and brains just laying on shelves. These people are less than professional. They really are. Not very good at their jobs. Bone meal, potion, blood clot, some tools, a saw, brain, some meat. Let's see what we have. We can make this. The onion bun is great. A little bit of stamina regen really makes all the difference. And yeah, starting with cooking at level 13 is quite remarkable. It really does make a difference. Oh wait, I have something to do with you people. But no, I'll wait. Let's free Conchúr first. Hello.
And who the hell are you?
What the hell are you? Right back at you, mate. What do you mean? No. Take it easy.
Then you're in luck, or you'd be lying here too. Bastards tried to cut me up again. They call it an experiment, but I know torture when I fail it.
So out of curiosity, I went back to an older save and ran through this area again. But this time I killed him, just to see if the duel would do anything different. Got my ass handed to me several times before I was like, how about I just cheese him? And then I used the bleed spell, obviously. I killed him because it doesn't stop the duel. He will fight to the death if you do fight him. Which is a bit of a shame. I was hoping to just beat him and then he'd surrender or something. But I don't think someone like him would ever surrender to anyone, for that matter. But no.
Was I the one doing the torturing? Both, pup. I won't lie. Sometimes you're the hammer. Sometimes the nail. But if you want to get out of here, you'll need to become the damn hammer. Conchúr. From the Dalriata, pup, if you hadn't already guessed that much. With great bloody difficulty, that's how. Those bastards laid a trap, hoping I'd be easy pickings. They ended up needing damn near a full army to take me down. There was mead. There were women. One thing led to another, and I woke up with my pants around my ankles, surrounded by gobshites in red. I was fighting with me bare arse hanging out, and I still managed to kill a dozen of them. Useless knobs. Someone must have put something in the mead. I don't know. Barely saw anything, because I was either knocked out or had blood in me eyes. You're lucky to have someone risking their own arse to help you out. No time for a chinwag, just get the hell out of here.
In any case, this one is a little interesting, because I'm pretty sure this is Hob, right? You meet him in the sunken village. But it says Iagan here, which I suspect is because the original patient of this cell was probably an Iagan, a 74 male Fernwood. While Hob ends up here due to a circumstance that we can find out later on. And it says Iagan on its name because that's what we know him as. We know that this man is Iagan because, you know, the note tells us that. But how would we know that he is not, in fact, Iagan? Because at no point do we actually ask him what his name is. We just assume that, reading the note, this must be Iagan. And sure enough, the talk option says Iagan. But we clearly meet this man later, and he is not Iagan.
Are you trying to escape, my child? That's very brave of you, I must say.
Oh, really? We should escape together, then.
Escape? Me? But this is exactly where I should be. I appreciate your offer, but I believe fate has brought me here for a reason. That's why I'll stay and see what happens.
Indeed. Well.
Torture, you say? That's very interesting. I haven't experienced any torture here. I know that whatever ails me, the Red Priests will do everything they can to heal me.
Sorry about that. What's he say? You'll die if you don't escape, please.
I doubt that. You'll soon see that things aren't always what they seem at first glance. This way of thinking has never failed me.
He's a very interesting character.
Safe
He really
travels,
is.
my child. May fate be on your side.
Perhaps it will be. It's hard to say. Got a ring. Alright, there we go.
You're not a priest.
I'm not.
Get out of here.
No.
Go away before they see you with me.
Rude. I want to help you. I want to free you from your misery.
Help? There's nothing wrong with me anymore. The priests cured me, you see. I just need a few days to recover.
Sure.
And then I'll be able to go home.
Okay. You don't look cured.
I look much better already.
Really?
In a few days, you won't even see a trace of the illness.
My mistake.
See? I don't need your help.
I can't let you live. Go to sleep. Ian, 5560, male, Ruscree. Oh, Ruscree is also in the Haunts of the South, actually. The village of Ruscree. But this is interesting. I wonder how long he's been here. And then, considering Ruscree, the village of Ruscree at least, is a fucking ruin. It's a mess. Granted, it does look somewhat recent. So he might have been here for a few years, potentially. Severed interior part of the frontal lobe didn't affect the progression of the Red Dead's symptoms. This patient is prone to self-harm. Well, I mean, that would explain a lot if his frontal lobe was messed up. He has no inhibitions about ripping his own body apart. Hello, Ian.
Can go now. Now.
So he can hear me, but
Can you hear me? Hear me.
A weighty silence. Indeed. I'm gonna have to put you down, buddy. You don't deserve this suffering. Anyway, let's get on out of here now. Wow. 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 I think I did this already, didn't I? I did. Okay. Wow. You know, this drop would definitely kill you, but for gameplay reasons, there is a spongy ball right here. Squish. It's like, okay, sure. Hello, Sirja.
Stay back. I may not be in top shape, but I can tear you to pieces if I have to. It should, although I admit that the past few weeks have made me hate the taste.
Understandable.
Still, thank you.
You're
There
very
isn't
welcome.
much kindness going around this place. It wouldn't be very gracious of me not to repay it, would it? Take this. It might prove useful for you.
Oh, really? Anyway, it's alright. I'm not with the priests.
So, you escaped too? Huh. They're having quite a day.
They are.
Good. I hope it gets even worse. This whole place is mad. From a safe distance this time.
That line procs a little too early. Unfortunately, it's pretty evident her dialogue right there is bugged, because she's supposed to finish her thoughts after mentioning that this whole place is mad, and that the priests are trying to control the Wyrdness, and that she wants to leave this, or rather observe the effects, but from a safe distance this time. Anyway.
They play with powers they don't understand. Trying to wrangle the Wyrdness into obedience is a fool's dream. The Wyrdness might listen, but blind obedience is not in its nature.
Very true. This is an interesting conversation option, but it's not a good one, because it's bound to piss her off. purely based on the fact that you can only get this question if you read, if you read the notes in her style. And I feel like it's a bit impersonal to push this particular note here. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Same as you, I guess. Wrong time, wrong place.
Indeed.
I was wandering through Kunakt and got caught in an outbreak. I was kept with the rest at first, but when they figured out I was a Pict, well, then I deserved special treatment. One of the priests took me to a place so thick with weirdness, it scared me. I needed to get away, otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. I just know whatever it wasn't for me.
Why do you have horns on your head?
Why indeed? Perhaps it's a test of patience. My hair tangles mercilessly around them. I even need to wear head wraps to hide them. I hate wearing head wraps.
Very understandable. Anyway, fare you well, Sirja. Also, the most important part, getting the ring, the mana ring, and a note on Sirja, and Conchúr, of course. Interesting. Anyway, I've read these. If you want to read them, you can pause the replay here. Let's see. Oh. Okay, not it. Down a bit further. There we go. Oh yeah, this is actually kind of interesting. I tend to forget, but it does show you the Red Death. You are sick and will soon die. There is no cure for the Red Death. Indeed. Alright, fight me, big guy. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Oh, rude. You should relax.
Curse the unclean!
Oh. I'm out of mana. Oh, come on, don't hit me.
You will burn!
There you go. That's too heavy. There we go. Unfortunately, the helmet is too heavy. There's no real value in actually putting it on right now. Well, there we go. You know, I'm not entirely sure what the white buttons are used for in terms of alchemy. I haven't noticed any use for them yet. Well, that could just be my my attention span not really purveying itself. Playing out, rather. Oh. Alright, we're out and about. Out and about. Let's go take a look at the next boss fight. I just remembered. No, I forgot. Damn it. I need to go make some potions. I completely skipped my mind. There we go. I'm not really gonna need the health potions, to be perfectly frank. But might as well equip them. Well, then again, I say I'm not gonna need them, but I mean, really? Bit arrogant. Hello. Short bow. That is not too shabby. I want food if I want to, but let's not go haywire. You know, I always assume there's going to be something in one of these crevices, but there never is. This leads down to Sirja. If you missed her previously, you can jump down there this way. Certainly a bit safer than jumping off the off into the corpse pile like some bloody lunatic. Hello. Let's save here. If you do notice it, I do in fact have a level 60 character that unfortunately I had to restart the game because I broke it. So here we are again. Ow! Why does he always stop doing that? You rat bastard! Sir, please. How about you don't? Stop it! Speaking of stopping it, I have a question. Right in the head. No! Stop that. That is incredibly rude. Down they go. That's too heavy. Got some value on it. It's the notes of a grief-torn man. Indeed. Notes of a man sinking into despair. Indeed. Hello, buddy. Let's grab some more medical tools. They are quite valuable in the right hands. That would be my hands, that is. Put that on for now. Da 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 da. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Okay, time to go speak to Caradoc. The armored gentleman. You know, I'd like to make this a playthrough of consequence, ideally. You know, everything should have a consequence. So I'm gonna do my damnedest to try that.
You took your sweet time, eh?
I did.
But I understand. I did too, when I was leaving this place for the first time. You have to admit that the Red Priests are quite resourceful. At least when it comes to death and dying.
See.
Oh, I don't believe this.
Oh?
Am I finally blessed with someone who understands the situation and doesn't ask stupid questions that can wait for a better moment? I'm told this path leads to the beach. I'll wait for you there until dusk. Good luck.
Intriguing. Well, technically this path leads nowhere, because what it really does is take you to a portal that, well, assuming you can get that far, which no one can. No one can reach that far unless they have many other blood or dweller powers. Oh, right over his head. Dude, I swear these hitboxes are crazy good. Hello. And down. Okay, on to the next step of the journey. Underground wonders, right? Which remarks on the discussion of things like the menhirs and the ruins. Speaking of which, this isn't a menhir, but it is designed in a fashion that looks like one. And it's not a fore-dweller either. We know that because the statue is way too big and doesn't quite look like them. Though what is interesting is that the fore-dwellers did build this. This is in fact their place. Let's see here. Another note. Pick that up. La-di-da, ra-ta-ta. Hello, hello. Hello. Well, that was incredibly stupid. What did I tell you? If I'd gone survival mode for this, I would have been I would have been dead right there, and it would have been back to the start. Oh boy, howdy. It might as well have been. Sit. Okay. Well, that was embarrassing, but honestly, expected. I have a tendency to do that. Gravity will be the #1 killer. Very consistently. Rich materializes and then fades out. Lovely. On to the next bit. Oh, he's grey-haired. Let's not do that again. Is there a note here by any chance? No. You know, you'd think for all the times I'd run through this place that maybe I'd actually know where everything is, but no, there are still opportunities to learn, it would seem. Quick save, just in case I do something stupid. Hello. There we go. Lovely. Wait, he had some hats there, didn't he? Give me those. Thank you. And note reading time. For about 5 seconds. Menhir! These are incredibly fascinating designs, they really are. We do learn who built these later. I'm not going to divulge that just yet, because I feel like it's more interesting to actually, you know, learn it as it happens, even though I know essentially all of it by now, but still. Into the Wyrdness. And there's Brother Ab, who touched the statue and disappeared. You know, sometimes taking your time.
It's not here.
Look, buddy, could you just very rude. Anyway. Is that Welch? Nah. Pictish, maybe? Could also just be a made-up language, it's possible.
Gift. Peace.
Peace.
Not.
Hello, stranger. You know, they changed this area ever so slightly. There used to be like 30, 40, 50 plants here you could pick up in the, I believe, open ad version. And then on release they removed them because, of course they did. I get why they did it, purely because it was way too easy to get like, an absolutely staggering amount of potions just from this location alone. Hello.
I've been waiting a long time for someone to find me. Are you here to help me leave this place?
Maybe. Possibly. What is this place?
I do not know. I think it is some kind of prison, deep in the Wyrdness.
Interesting. Why are you here?
And you? Why are you here?
He just turns the question around very swiftly.
A Menhir? that would explain the weirdness surrounding us.
Alright, what are you?
I wish I could answer. I cannot remember. I know I am not complete. I remember I once knew who I was at some point, but I do not anymore. I just am. But walk with me. Let's find out together, now that I'm free.
It's quite fascinating how simple it was to really regain his soul. Or at least a fragment of it, anyway.
I remember arriving on the shores of Avalon. That was the beginning of everything. But there were doubts and questions. How does it feel to leave your homeland behind? To keep moving forward, even though every step takes you into the unknown? The fore-dwellers quickly made it clear to us. If we wanted to call this place home, we'd have to fight for it, down to the last drop of blood. In the end, we won the war. Merlin stole the sacred flame of the fore-dwellers and ignited the Menhirs, driving away the mist and clearing the nights of weirdness. It was the first time we uncovered the secrets hidden within the Menhirs. Still, the land of Avalon honored our toil. It soaked up our sweat, our suffering, and our blood. In time, it rewarded us. Here in Avalon, we were given the chance to create great things. Camelot, the eternal castle, the capital of all humankind, was meant to be a symbol of that. We left the homelands to survive. The plague had consumed everything we once knew. We thought we'd escaped it, but the Red Death returned like a specter to haunt us. Once again, it began to devour our home.
Honestly, this bit is very cool. Like, I have to turn up sound every single time. It is that good. There, let's just get it.
Niflheim, Muspelheim, Is, Oberfäller, Linie, Jotunskaber, Esai, Dinum, Gagab, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Is, Oberfäller, Linie, Jotunskaber, Esai, Dinum, Gagab, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Is, Oberfäller, Linie, Jotunskaber, Esai, Dinum, Gagab, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Oberfäller, Linie, Jotunskaber, Esai, Dinum, Gagab, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Is, Oberfäller, Linie, Jotunskaber, Esai. Oh, awaken thee, once and future king.
That never gets old. I adore that song and I adore the cinematic. It's very, very good. Do you wonder who she is? Appears to have 4 arms, much like much like a Menhir or a fore-dweller potentially. This could very well be the Pale Lady. I just realized. Potentially.
I am his hunger. The craving for what was beyond reach. I am the price paid for touching the unreal.
His hunger. How about you?
He was the hand that reached beyond knowing. The seeker who dared cross the boundary. The dreamer who glimpsed the shape of what could be.
I really don't have anything to say here. It's just standing around listening to that is very serene and incredibly depressing at the same time, because there's a lot of darkness in this story. There really is. Anyway, back to it.
Ah, yes. I can see through the mist, but it's still all so unclear. I've dreamt of countless deaths for such a long time. Yes, it's time to wake. I am Arthur Pendragon.
I don't know. I think I should be turning this on. Oh no, it turns off the music in here. I don't know if this is gonna matter. I really hope it doesn't, but, well, you never know. That is very sad. Anyway, back to it. Ring of Protection? Sure, why not? Nothing else in here, as I recall. Out we go. On and on and on, away we go. We go. We go. Yeah, I do wonder, how do you avoid stepping between the holes there? Not just lodging your foot in the process. The giants. This bit I find particularly fascinating. The fore-dwellers built this place far and away from Tuathan in order to keep safe from the Wyrdness. Hello, little wisp. How do you do? We created the Titans, for we need their work. Guard the peace of the working Titans, for without them we would not have power within our walls. Away from Tuathan, only the power of what is underground allows us to reach where the Wyrdness does not. Even when we leave, the Titans will not stop working. It is how they were created. With their power, one day we will manage to learn what lies beyond the sea. And learn they did, indeed. And they did not like what they found. We must abandon the vision, because what is beyond the sea came to us, and we do not want it. We must leave now to defend ourselves. They are coming. The Titans will stay. And so they did. And from what I remember, this is 600 odd years after the fall of the fore-dwellers, which means these guys have been churning this engine for 600 years without ceasing. I always keep thinking there's more to this alcove right here, but you know, there isn't, obviously. It's the same thing every time, and I just don't know why I keep expecting there to be something different. A lot of white buttons. Still not sure what the hell the white buttons are used for. Quick save and a boss fight. Hello. Oh, that was rude. So, I can't mind this. No, I can wait. It doesn't need to be put on just yet. And out in the open we are, freed from our prison. There's a lot to be grabbed and gabbed and gathered here. Sage, rosemary, what? Bit of moonshine, good for the soul. That it is. Feathers. A very heavy broadsword there. You know, I keep looking at these plants and expecting there to be a material, but it's just a reed, obviously. It's not that. It's just a bloody reed. A letter to the Prior. Venerable Prior, I have left my post at the Island Asylum to deliver alarming news. My brothers have lost their senses, their souls tainted by a voice that is not the word. I have proof. Did Prophet Kai's teaching ever command us to subject her followers to torture while fighting to heal their bodies and souls? Were we not to seek a cure for the plague rather than indulge in the dark powers of the Wyrdness? Please examine this appeal. Surely you did not compose it, nor do I recognize the fanatic's seal. Someone is corrupting our brothers, attempting to silence the true word. I bring this letter and evidence to you, hoping for a just response. Brother Rion. Come on, I ruined that. Brother Rion? Really? Rion? Brother Leon, of course. Well, he is dead as can be. Dead as dead. There's a couple things here. I'll come back to this spot in just a second. First, I need to claim what lies in the sea. That which is out of reach, beyond the waves, cold, the crushing weight of despair. That became a lot deeper than I needed it to be. You know, as much as I love the sea, I really am not a huge fan of delving below it. And that is despite the sailor's blood in my veins. I don't appreciate the crushing darkness down here. It is, it's very unpleasant at times. It's beautiful, sure, but there's something deeply unsettling about this. So I'm going to attempt to stay above the water as much as I possibly can. Though the explorer in me also really wants to delve down there and fetch what lies beneath the waves. But again, I can respect my own sensibility in not wanting to be eaten by what lies below. Even in the case that there isn't anything, which, you know, realistically, there isn't anything down here that's going to consume my flesh and crush my creaking bones, but, I mean, why risk it? Why risk it? Is there a reason to go out there and be like, I should check what's on it? And you know what? I don't think there is a reason to delve down there and find out if there's anything out yonder. Incidentally, though, I happen to know that there is, in fact, something out there beneath the waves. And it is something I do not wish to interact with. It is simply far too big and, well, if I can't hurt it, then what chance do I have of staying alive while dealing with it? It's one of those reasons I don't really mind games like Alien Isolation. Yeah, it's spooky as shit and rather unpleasant to play, but because you can actually hurt the alien in it, it becomes less scary as a result. I mean, once you get the flamethrower, it becomes very manageable. I just gave a thumbs up IRL because of that, but the point is, I feel, that as long as you can hurt something, if it's mortal, right? If you could potentially make it bleed, then surely you have a chance, right? There is an opportunity to kill it. If it bleeds, it can die. And if it can die, well, it's suddenly not as scary. Of course, there are just as many examples wherein just because you can make it bleed does not equate you being able to, you know, beat it, to win. But just having the opportunity, the ability to potentially beat it, that alone, I feel, is enough hope to overcome the terror. Speaking of terror, that would be the Island Asylum right there. The headquarters of the Red Priests. There's a lot more to the Island Asylum that we actually get to see because we are in the dungeons. And I suspect that the one locked door that is to the right of your cell as you start the game is likely what leads up to the upper levels of the keep. I haven't gotten as far as potentially coming back here, but I think that may be an opportunity to come back here. I'd be interested in seeing if that is, in fact, the case. But, well, for now, I don't know. You know, mostly just to finish what we started, right? To put down the monsters that hide in plain sight. Okay. Let's see what we have here. A Hermit's Diary. 2nd of Hawthorn Moon, 621. I've roamed Avalon for too long. No sign of my brothers, no messages at our meeting point. Could I truly be the last druid? 13th of Oak Moon, 621. I tried hiding near Connacht. The people there seem honorable. I didn't fall for the lies about us. But the red priests appeared there too, forcing me to flee again. My bones can't endure much more. 9th Divine Moon, 621. Thanks to Harb in the sunken village, I reached the Island Asylum. They'll never suspect a druid here. Harb didn't even blink when I asked for help. 6th of Willow Moon, 626. 5 years later. My days are ending, but those red fools never found me. It's been lonely, but my cave became home. I feel this is my last entry. I hope my brothers would see this hiding spot as our last prank on Avalon, worth every moment. You know, that is, it's an interesting case too, you know. It really shows that despite the factors, if you will, this particular druid, this hermit, who's evidently been dead for a while now, well, he escaped the Red Conclave, and he lived right beneath the noses of the Red Priests. And if that isn't a bit of humor, then I don't know what is. Honestly, that's brilliant. Right, Caradoc, my friend, I should like to talk with you, but first, a manual save. Okay, see what we got. I know for a fact you and I are going to be fighting in a second here, so I'm going to go out of my way to not be completely stupid. Unfortunately, he will one-shot me, so it doesn't matter what I wear. He's going to kill my ass if I get hit. I would like to avoid that, but, well, you know how it goes. No, let me think for just a second here. Is there something I can put on that would make this a little easier? I want to win, but I'd also like to stick with the outcome if I do lose, you know? Fuck it. Let's just do it as it is.
There you are. It took you a while. I was getting worried you wouldn't make it. I even realized that I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. I'm Caradoc, your savior. What kept you so long?
Well, you know, you sent me even though you knew what was there,
I had my suspicions. What I didn't expect was you walking back free of the sickness. So go on. What did you find in there?
Anyway, I found King Arthur.
You found him?
I did.
I'm truly sorry it turned out to be you.
Oh, really? Well, you know, when someone says that, the first line of thought is, is he going to stab me in the back now? And no, he doesn't stab you in the back, he stabs you in the front, which is, well, equally as unpleasant, to be honest. What are you talking about?
Well, it seems that the Red Priests managed to succeed in at least one of their experiments.
That they
You
did?
were able to go deep into the weirdness, survive, and even bring a piece of our king's soul back with you. I don't have to explain that this isn't something that happens every day. My job is to make sure it won't ever happen again. And this means you have to die. I'm truly sorry.
Brother, what? Alright, turn red. Thank you.
You'll pay for that!
Now there happens to be a relatively easy way to beat him.
Impressive hit.
It's called
It'll take
walking
more to
backwards.
defeat
Just bleeding him to death. And
You'll pay for that!
easy there, Caradoc.
A good strike. But I won't fall so easily. Impressive hit.
Don't stop
It'll
drinking
take
now.
more to defeat me.
There we go. Now, how did I find out that It's that easy to beat him. Well, it it took a lot of trial and error, but yeah, eventually I realized that he doesn't sprint at any point during the fight. And I have this suspicion that the reason he doesn't sprint is because he doesn't need to. After all it takes is for him to smack me in the mouth once and I go down like a sack of, well, like a sack of rocks, I guess. But yeah, ever since I realized I could actually beat him, I've been doing that every single time. I don't know, there's just something very enjoyable about doing that. Because a part of me really doesn't want to lie to him. I want to be as honest as I can be, because I feel like it's just the right thing to do. He does save us after all, but I'm not particularly willing to die for his sake, just because. Anyway. King Arthur. Shall we have a conversation, sir?
Well, that man really hated me.
He does.
That much is clear.
Yeah.
But congratulations on standing your ground.
Thank you. Now, this is an interesting bit, because if you do get killed by Caradoc, there's obviously a whole different way in that he stabs you, or more specifically, he stabs Arthur with his enchanted blade. Now, he fails to kill him, ultimately, of course, but that is a very fascinating, aspect of it, because right in this instance, we don't know why Caradoc attacks us when you survive.
No. It seems that I should, but I don't. He knew me, spoke with certainty, with anger. But to me, he's a stranger. If he was a part of my past, then that past has been taken from me. I need to regain it. That pin you took from his body, I remember it. I don't know what it means, but I know it was important somehow. I'm sure it will help us on our journey. Let's go then, young one. Let's not waste any more time.
Indeed.
I left my kingdom strong. It should have only grown stronger in my absence.
It did not.
And if something threatens it now, then I will see it restored.
Quite a lot of things are threatening the kingdom right now, Arthur. But you'll see. You will certainly see. Endurance and spirituality. I will likely be doing a mage playthrough here, potentially adding to the... What's the word here? What am I trying to say? But potentially and likely changing it to be a melee playthrough eventually. And due to my loot goblin tendencies, I likely won't need gold very often anyway, so it should be fine. Should be. Let's nab some spell power. I feel like this might be useful, but I don't really have enough crit to justify this to begin with. Stream multiplier might be ideal here. Don't need that. Critical hit with a spell restores 25% of its mana cost. Nah. It's not really necessary right now. This is an amazing passive. It really is. This is actually the strongest melee ability you can get once you start adding some armor on. It is a staggering amount of damage that you can get from this. Anyway. I am thinking I just blast on a bit more spell power, to be honest. I'll have to continue on this path as well for the mana battery, because it is very important. Alright, my friend, let's rest a couple of hours till about midnight. And then, it's time for a cutscene. Caradoc is dead. Got his armor, of course, which is very strong, but also requires 10 endurance, and I just don't have that. Wait, no, there was one thing left here to do. You know what's interesting here is the Wyrdness doesn't seem to have an effect right now. Which I suppose could be explained by the fact that we're on an island right next to a giant menhir, which is active, so the region here should be shielded in, well, by the ward that the menhirs actually produce. What? I was looking for the noble stuff. Hey! Third person is, it's very funny to look at. But the devs did specify that it's not intended, you know. Third person is an accessibility option. It's not meant to be played like this. But it is nice to have the option to look in third person every once in a while. Anyway, back to it.
The sea was restless, waves slamming against the hull as you left the Island Asylum behind. Caradoc's boat cut through the black waters, its course set for Avalon's shores. Then the deep stirred. A shudder ran through the vessel from neither wind nor tide, but from something far below. A presence, ancient and watching. And then it struck. The boat lurched violently, wood splintering as the sea itself rose in fury. A shadow moved beneath the surface, vast, coiling, inescapable. The next wave swallowed everything. Darkness took you. Salt filled your lungs, and then light. The crash of waves, the cold kiss of wet sand. You were alive. The sea had spared you, but not without a cost.
And we're back to it. Wow. Well, that was a hell of a trip. You know, for brevity's sake, they did... In the cutscene, they include 2 people on the boat. And I think it's because the boat cutscene was initially made before, likely before we had the option of actually killing Caradoc. So I can see why they would, that'd be 2 people on the boat. There we go. There's a reason to kill every single one. That's right. Surely that's it. Right? There's another one over there. Bloody hell, there's a lot of them. The crabs, they're everywhere. You got Snarroon. Anyway.